Slitterhead is one of the weirdest and maybe one of the most unique titles of 2024. Bokeh Game Studio's first title, Slitterhead, defines itself as an action horror title. Though I wouldn't call it as a horror title but as an action, maybe hack and slash with grotesque creature designs and somewhat of a horror concept. Developed under the creative direction of Keiichiro Toyama, known as the creator of Silent Hill, SIREN and Gravity Rush, Slitterhead draws inspiration from seinen manga series like Tokyo Ghoul and Parasite. Seeking to explore a fresh take on horror, blending supernatural action with existential dread. However, by focusing on different genres and dividing the both story setting and the gameplay into horror, action, sometimes stealth and mystery, Slitterhead sadly masters none of them. I'm Arcadenaut here, and today I will talk about this new, unique experience that could have been a really memorable horror experience. Slitterhead takes place in Hong Kong in the 1990s. The players take the role of a yellow spirit lacking a physical form but able to possess other humans, taking control of their bodies to fight against these grotesque creatures called Slitterheads. Slitterheads disguise themselves as humans, lurking within society, preying on unsuspecting victims, feeding on their brains, as the people of Hong Kong believe these are disturbing, unsolved serial murders. Although our main character, this yellow spirit, doesn't remember what it is, it feels like its purpose is to fight against these Slitterheads and to prevent a prophesied catastrophe from destroying this town. The story kicks off with the yellow spirit awakening without memory, initially inhabiting the body of a dog, wandering the streets as we inhabit innocent people of Kowloon. Slitterhead becomes more interesting and captivating as we discover rarities, as these characters are unique and have importance in the narrative. The yellow spirit discovers these rarities at the edge of their death, granting them another chance at life and an opportunity to fight against these Slitterhead threats. Our first rarity, Julie, appears with her blood talents as the protagonist of Slitterhead. As we continue the narrative, we get to discover more of these rarities from Anita, Alex, Edo, Blake, and even Old Lady Betty to fight against these Slitterheads. As each character offers something different, whether it be more aggressive playstyles, maybe time bomb skills to sacrifice poor and innocent people of Hong Kong to deal damage, and so on. This possession sets the stage for Slitterhead's main mechanic. Players can possess nearly any character they encounter, also choosing two rarities from 8 to start any mission. As the narrative continues, we find ourselves recovering more memories of the Yellow Spirit, delving deeper into the conspiracy of the cultists following Slitterheads, Hong Kong's nightlife infested by the Slitterhead threat, and time travel to the past to correct any past events that Yellow Spirit couldn't solve by that time. As we look from the outside, Slitterhead seems interesting. It reaches captivating points in the narrative, presenting intriguing events. However, it fails to deliver any kind of horror element or loses its mystery by making the narrative too complicated, where it starts to feel unnecessarily complex to make it look captivating. And it's, unfortunately, one of the biggest lost potentials of Slitterhead. At its core, Slitterhead is a hack and slash game. The mystery element, the Slitterheads appearing from the infested bodies turn into praying mantises or weird octopus-like creatures that become targets to destroy to continue the progress. Slitterhead introduces a cast of characters equipped with unique, different abilities, maybe from sawn-off shotguns to miniguns, poison arrows, drunken kung fu moves. Slitterhead quickly loses its horror or thriller elements as we unlock more characters and improve them. Combat is a major aspect of Slitterhead, with an emphasis on close quarters fighting with parry and dodge mechanics that are, unfortunately, nothing that unique. After a while, I started to totally ignore the parry and the deflect mechanic and focused more on dealing damage, changing bodies mid-fight, healing through absorbing the blood around, defeating and moving on my next target. Each character offers blood abilities where the Yellow Spirit can solidify a possessed character's blood into temporary weapon. As I mentioned before, rarities come with their own blood weapons. Julie, for example, wields blood talents, while another rare body, Alex, is a doctor by day and Slitterhead hunter by night. He fights with a surgical blade, also transforming his own blood into sound of shotgun, and never hesitates to sacrifice any poor soul to destroy these Slitterheads. However, after reaching halfway into the narrative, the boss battles, even the mission flow becomes more predictable, leading to a team composition that just clears these challenges swiftly. For example, Blake's minigun is definitely a boss killer. Julie, Alex and Anita are really efficient in close combat, and the rest of the rarities, having more supportive and utility skills, might shine in harder difficulties. Though, if I were to speak for myself, I don't think I would play Slitterhead in Nightmare difficulty later on. And if I were to give additional concrete examples, you can summon multiple characters to swarm an enemy, using their collective attacks to overwhelm a boss, use Alex's time bomb and then change to a different body. Oddly enough, Slitterhead could have been really interesting and fluid hack and slash with these mechanics, but it prefers to focus on multiple genres with a limited budget. And that is, ultimately, its biggest flaw. When it comes to the indie titles or a studio's first game, I tend to criticize their works in a more forgiving way. That means Slitterhead's plastic-looking character designs or the lack of voice acting in most of the cutscenes did not bother me that much. It is totally understandable, it is their first game as a studio, they have a limited budget, and it's also obvious that they wanted to try something totally different. However, a big however here, at the same time, I expect them to nail the concept that they go for, meaning either the game's action horror genre with mystery elements, or the whole Slitterhead narrative with its characters and plot twists. And I can't shake the feeling that the plot twists surrounding the Yellow Spirit and the rarities could have been shaped earlier to create more intriguing storytelling. What Bokeh Game Studio did marvelously, however, is the atmosphere. The mix of claustrophobic alleyways, vibrant markets, and neon lights of Kowloon, these all create a menacing, gritty world that feels haunted by the ominous presence of the Slitterheads. There might be players who wouldn't like the rough textures or plastic-looking bland NPC designs, but I don't think these are a huge deal after all. There is always something to explore in this city, whether it be Yellow Spirit's memories to earn ability points, or shrine bosses to challenge to unlock new costumes for the characters, all while Akira Yamaoka's music breathes life into Slitterhead. The famed composer of the Silent Hill series creates an additional eerie feeling to Slitterhead's narrative, though all of these aspects could have been more impactful if the gameplay was leaning more towards the horror genre, I would say. Unnecessary and shallow stealth combined with repetitive chase sequences easily makes you forget about this beautifully crafted side of Slitterhead, and the worst thing is, you can easily ignore these aspects and just focus on finishing the game as soon as possible, feeling that you had enough. Although Slitterhead starts as a totally different experience that is not affected by Toyama's past works, it starts to feel a lot like Siren Blood Curse around the latter half, meaning just picking a mission, doing its main objectives to complete it quickly, and moving on with the narrative. One of the standout features of Slitterhead is its mission-based structure, allowing you to replay previously completed missions to uncover hidden collectibles or unlock additional character upgrades. Each mission unfolds as a self-contained story with progression, often depending on finding certain rarities, solving simple puzzles, or completing side objectives. After unlocking the main 3 rarities, namely Julie, Anita and Alex, you will find yourself stuck in the narrative, as Slitterhead wants you to play previous missions to discover new rarities that can help you in your investigation. As you reach this point, things start to get interesting in a really good way. As you move within Kowloon, you start to care about this world, listen to what NPC says, or trying to find a character in need. And I really believe that Slitterhead could have offered something even way better if they had a bigger budget here. Maybe it could have offered a bigger map, maybe the setting could have taken place in modern Tokyo, something like that. The time loop mechanic that I mentioned before creates another layer to the narrative that, sadly, starts to present the repetitive mission objectives alongside with it. Needless to say, Slitterhead took around 13 hours to complete, and I really tried to discover its side contents of obtaining memories of Yellow Spirit, improving my characters, and unlocking new costumes by battling against frustrating Slitterhead bosses that helped me to obtain the true ending. There is a potential in Slitterhead, though this potential would definitely be improved by taking out unnecessary stealth sequences, focusing on a single genre, whether it be survival horror or hack and slash with a narrative that unfolds with impacts and memorable characters, rather than unraveling multiple narrative points and expecting us to keep up with it. Ultimately, Slitterhead is an unique experience that doesn't quite know where it wants to land. Although it defines itself as an horror action experience, I would define it as an hack and slash with horror elements. Calling it as an horror action experience would be really misleading. It's bold, ambitious, and packed with unique ideas, but it heavily struggles to bring them all together to create something better. It's definitely for those who are willing to try out something different, especially if you are willing to embrace its flaws and dive into its chaotic world full of grotesque charm. However, if you are looking for a more impactful horror experience, I would still definitely recommend you to check out the recent Silent Hill 2 remake rather than Slitterhead. It might evolve into something better, correcting its past mistakes, improving its flaws and deliver a better sequel in the future, but in the meantime, Slitterhead offers a unique experience rather than a solid, charming and an impactful one. As always, thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed my Slitterhead review, and if you do, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a like and follow me on Twitter. Any humble support through Patreon and YouTube join is really appreciated, and I will see you soon. Stay tuned.